you. Wow. I'm so in awe of Tony. Where did you go? There you are. It's not easy. It's coming out, isn't it? It's really a coming out process, and it takes courage, and Tony is very brave. Tony's going through a lot, and I think that it's also very healing. So I encouraged him to be here today and do this, because I know it'll be a healing step, and also to just be here this weekend and meet the rest of you, and hopefully find some new friends. It's one of the casualties of this whole process is to lose your social network. So you have to build up a new one. So I hope the rest of you are doing that too, finding new friends, make contacts, be friendly, be like little kids. Hey, you want to be friends? Seriously, little kids know a lot. Where is that thing? Oh, okay. I'm technologically incompetent, but anyway, I try to be good at other things. So how are you doing so far here at the convention? Happy to be here? I imagine you're from all over. How many of you are from right around here, from Texas? Okay, lots of locals, that's good. And I assume that you found that questionnaire that's laying about. And I'm hoping that you will help me out by filling it out and letting me know a little bit about you. I'm always learning about this, and would love to have your comments about this subject, and also comments about what I talk about today. And then if you would like to join my mailing list, then please put your information on there, and I will add you to it and let you know about any kind of events or resources that we have. We have an occasional mailing list, not very often. You won't get spammed, I promise. Okay? So in general, let me take just a little bit of a survey here so I know who I'm talking to. How many of you have a religious background that you would call fundamentalist, in the sense of authoritarian, Bible believing, the Bible is the Word of God, or some other religion like that? Okay. And all right, how are you doing? Okay, good. Okay, so you'll understand a little bit of some of what I'm talking about. I'm going to go through some material, and then if we have some time at the end, I'm happy to take questions and we can talk about it. And certainly we can talk later. Please feel free to come up and chat with me later. I really had trouble putting this together because there is so much to say. I've been doing this for about 20 years now. I never intended to do this work. I never intended to write this book. I never intended to go through any of this process myself. This was my story to begin with, and then I became a psychologist, and I accidentally developed this as a specialty area. Some psychologists try to find a niche, they try to find a specialty and go into it. This was not the case for me. I simply sat down one day and started at a typewriter. This dates me, I know, I was at a typewriter. But I started writing about my own experience as far as dealing with the leftovers of my faith that I was born and raised in, and that meant a lot to me. And after a very short time, I had 10 pages that just came out. And I was startled. And then I took these 10 pages and shared them with others rather tentatively. I wasn't sure, whether this was worth sharing, whether anybody else could understand or relate. And then, surprisingly, people responded with great emotion and enthusiasm, including a minister, a Presbyterian minister, that immediately wanted me to bring it to a meeting of ministers and tell them about it. And then it evolved into a paper that I gave at at the American Psychological Convention. And I'm standing in the elevator with copies of my paper, and people are looking over my shoulder at the title of it and asking for copies, and I haven't even given it yet. I come back after that. This was in New York. I come back to Colorado after that, and I get invited to the local Unitarian church on a Sunday morning to give this as a talk. I'm standing in a pulpit talking about how I no longer believe. This is getting a little strange. Standing in a pulpit, I'm, not used to this just yet. Looking behind me to see if I'm going to get struck by lightning. But then again, this is a Unitarian church, so it's probably okay. But I don't want anybody else to say anything bad about my religion or my God. This is kind of like criticizing your own mother. You're only allowed to do it yourself. You don't want to hear anything from anyone else. At that stage, I still had a lot of mixed feelings, because for me, there was a lot of loss. There was a lot of grief. I would say Jesus was like my first lover. I was very emotionally involved. To me, it was more than just an intellectual thing. I was born into it, so I didn't have much choice, like most children born into religious families. It wasn't as though, even though it's supposed to be a free will decision, God is pro-choice, right? As though your parents, your church leaders, your culture sits you down as a small child and says, okay, here we have Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism, atheism, and describes them, Islam, the ins and outs, what you get, what you wear, your lifestyle, what the penalties are for early withdrawal. And then you choose. No. No, you just get what you are offered. And then after that, there are lots of reasons why you stay, and you have to stay. So that was my situation, and my parents were missionaries on top of that. They were spreading the word to the heathen, and I grew up overseas in Taiwan, spoke Chinese, still do a little bit, in addition to still knowing how to speak in tongues. And I'm not going to demonstrate. Although Valerie Tirico, who authored the book Trusting Doubt, that I also recommend highly, she interviewed me and insisted that I demonstrate, tricked me into it. I did for a moment. It's pretty funny. But anyway, I grew up on the mission field, went to Christian schools, and came back to the United States, lived in Southern California, was part of the Jesus movement, witnessed door to door on the beach, got my boyfriend baptized in the surf, married him. What's that called? That kind of a dating evangelism. What's that? Wasn't quite that. anyway, he had to become Christian in order to date me. He cooperated. Yeah. So, yeah, everything was in order. I'm going to start the slideshow.